So we need to find a basis for the row space generated by the vectors 1, 2, 3, 5, then 2, 3, 5, 8, and then 3, 4, 7, 11, and 1, 1, 2, 3. So we just write these vectors in the matrix form and then changing the matrix to the echelon form, row echelon form, right? And from there we get the basis for the row space of A. So let's say V be the vector space generated by these given vectors and writing these vectors in the matrix form named as A. I'm already having 1 over here, so we just need to make this as 0 to make 1 this our leading entry. So for that, row 2 is changed by adding its elements to the row 1, but row 1 should be first multiplied with -2, right? Okay, so first of all, writing the first row as it is, because we are going to change the row second. Okay, 1 is multiplied with -2, we get -2, and adding this to 2, we get 0. 2 is multiplied with -2, we get -4, and adding this to 3, we get -1. 3 is multiplied with -2, we get -6, and adding this to 5, we get -1. 5 is multiplied with -2, we get -10, and adding this to 8, we get -2, right? And then the next operation, row 3 is changed by adding its elements to the row 1, but row 1 should be first multiplied with, yes, -3, so that I get 0 over here. Alright. 1 is multiplied with -3, we get -3, and adding this to 3, we get 0. 2 is multiplied with -3, we get -6, and adding this to 4, we get -2. 3 is multiplied with -3, we get -9, and adding this to 7, we get -2. 5 is multiplied with -3, we get -15, and adding this to 11, we get -4. And at last, row 4 is changed by adding its elements to the row 1, but row 1 should be first multiplied with -1, right? Okay. 1 is multiplied with -1, we get -1, and adding this to 1, we get 0. 2 is multiplied with -1, we get -2, and adding this to 1, we get -1. 3 is multiplied with -1, we get -3, and adding this to 2, we get -1. 5 is multiplied with -1, we get -5, and adding this to 3, we get -2. So we obtain this, our leading element over here, right? For the second row, I need this to be as 1, right? For that, just multiply the row 2 with -1. That's it. Fine. So next row operation is multiplying the row 2 with -1. Writing the first row as it is, 1, 2, 3, 5. And multiplying the second row with -1 simply. So we get 0, 1, 1, 2. Writing the rest of the rows as it is. And then for this to be our leading element, we need to make 2, -2, -1 to be as 0, right? Okay, for that, we need to change the row 1, yes, and adding its element to the row 2 by multiplying the row 2 first with -2. Fine? Okay. So row 1 is changed by adding its elements to the row 2, but row 2 should be first multiplied with -2. Writing the second row as it is, 0, 1, 1, 2. Very fine. Okay. 0 is multiplied with -2, and adding this to 1, we get 1. No change. 1 is multiplied with -2, we get -2, and adding this to 2, we get 0. 1 is multiplied with -2, and adding this to 3, we get 1. 2 is multiplied with -2, we get -4, and adding this to 5, we get 1. Now is the row operation on 3. Adding the elements of the row 3 to the row 2, but row 2 should be first multiplied with 2. 0 is multiplied with 2, we get 0, and adding this to 0, we get 0. 1 is multiplied with 2 and adding this to minus 2 we get 0. 1 is multiplied with 2 we get 2 and adding this to minus 2 we get 0. 2 is multiplied with 2 we get 4 and adding this to minus 4 we get 0. Very good, very fine. And now applying the row operations on row 4 and adding these elements to the row 2 again. But row 2 should be first multiplied with, yes, to make this 1 0 we should multiply the row 2 with 1 only. 0 is multiplied with 1 we get 0 and adding this to 0 we get 0. 1 is multiplied with 1 we get 1 and adding this to negative 1 we get 0. 1 is multiplied with 1 we get 1 and adding this to negative 1 we get 0. 2 is multiplied with 1 we get 2 and adding this to minus 2 we get 0. Very good. So we get these two only to be our non-zero rows and this to be our leading entry for the second row. And there is no need to find the further leading elements because there are no non-zero rows now, right? Okay, so writing the bases. So this is your row echelon form matrix now. So therefore the bases for V are, yes, from the first row we get 1 0 1 1 and from the second row we get 0 1 1 2. So this is a basis for vector space V. Alright, thank you.